Welcome to a brand new episode of L&D Superfood, where we serve up the most potent insights shaping the future of learning and development in bite-sized episodes. In a world where workplace learning is becoming more dynamic, data-driven, and deeply human, staying ahead means rethinking how we build, deliver, and measure learning. Joining us today is a very special guest, Rajnish Bohra, Global Head Learning Organization Effectiveness, Diversity and Belongingness at WNS, to share his perspective on designing impactful learning ecosystems, nurturing inclusive growth, and leading transformation from within. Welcome to the show, Rajnish. Really happy to have you with us.
Thank you, Shireen. Pleasure. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Great. So, Rajnish, we're just going to dive right in.
Sure.
And my first question to you is, as organizations are facing increasing pressure to build agile, future-ready workforces, how are you observing the role of L&D evolve in your experience? And what shifts are you making to meet the growing demand for a multi-skilled, adaptable, and tech-savvy talent workforce?
Yeah, I think, Shireen, thanks so much. I think it's a very, very important question, a very pertinent question. I think the role of L&D has always been, in my opinion, to keep the organization and the employees relevant. And I think, and also to solve the build versus buy conundrum. I think these are the two, in my opinion, are this most important role L&D kind of plays. Obviously, capability and capacity building is a part of that. I think that, in my opinion, the evolution of the role is to understand the dynamics between 70-20-10, which is education, experience, and exposure. And I feel that whenever the learning team is faced with a problem, right, in terms of when the business kind of comes and tells us that, hey, we need to kind of solve for leadership, for future or succession, or we need to solve for building, say, an AI mindset or a product mindset for the organization, right? The question for us is that, how do you leverage these three elements, right? How do you leverage education? How do you leverage experience? And how do you leverage exposure, right? And I think I can talk about my team and, and how we do it in WNS. And I think when we are faced with a situation like this, and we are solving to kind of build acumen, we use this interplay, and then, and then the entire design kind of hovers around whether it's going to be 70% experience, on experience, whether it's going to be 30% on exposure, which is around mentoring and coaching, or we're going to only focus on mentoring and coaching, and also on education, which is it could be an in-person workshop or an immersion or whatever it is, right? So that's what how we solve, and how we have evolved as a learning organization. I think you had a second question, which was around the shift, right?
Yeah.
What we did was in 2018, we carved out. It's a virtual carve out. A university called WNS Education, which is completely focused on skilling for future, right? And because we believe that, I think the future, we were able to kind of see that there is a wind that is blowing around technology and automation, artificial intelligence, right? And because of that investment that we made in 2018, we are so better placed. We work with the best universities in the world, be it Cornell, Carnegie Mellon, or Harvard, right? To kind of go ahead and upskill our employees and leaders, to ensure that, we have the right mindset and approach to, building solutions for future.
Okay, great. I think really good points some you made about education, experience, and exposure. Great insights from you as usual, and how to put talent at the forefront of L&D. So really thank you for that answer. Now, moving on to my next question. We all know that WNS is deeply invested in tech-led transformation and digital-led transformation. So how are you embedding these emerging technologies like AI and analytics into your learning architecture to upskill talent in real time?
See, the learning platform that we have currently is AI enabled, right? We have invested in a cutting edge platform in 2021, and from then on, I think it's been a very interesting and a very, very impactful experience for everybody who's been using this particular platform in the organization. And the way, I think we solve the concept of skilling is everybody in the organization has a goal, a learning goal, right? And the platform that we have currently is able to go ahead and stitch together automatically, okay, uh, a learning plan or a learning content that befits the role and the goal that the person's got, right? And sometimes these learning content comes from in the form of a video. Sometimes it comes in the form of a learning course. Sometimes these are free courses. Sometimes these are paid courses. But uh, the platform by design is able to kind of help us to weave these self-learning courses to our employees basis the role and the goal that they have, right? We also have a very robust analytics, platform, which we use it very effectively to understand, to see the patterns in terms of how employees are learning. What is it that they're, consuming? What is it that, for example, where we are falling short in terms of our goals and the delivery? And I'll give you an example. One of the things that we have been able to, really do well is to look at what employees are actually learning on their own, right? And if we see that, if you're able to convert that particular, focus area into a program, we immediately kind of go ahead and act on it. So there are obviously a lot of learning programs that we curate, but we also see what people are consuming on their own.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Rajnish, for that answer. And we all know that AI integration is so important these days into your learning program. So good that you have a head start in that. Good to hear about that. Now, just moving on to the next question. As a global leader, Rajnish, as a global L&D leader, operating across multiple geographies and domains, how have you ensured that your learning strategy is scalable while staying aligned with both the global standards that we know and your local business needs?
Yeah, I think the first and the foremost is to respect diversity. I think, in my opinion, learning teams sitting out of a particular country where, for example, the head office is, if we think that we are a panacea and a cure of all diseases, I think, we should be, pinching ourselves, right? I think we have a very simple strategy. We divided the organization into two parts. Leadership is something which is we centrally kind of look at because we want, for leaders, for us is fungible. And we want to ensure that the competencies that we focus on is across the globe because the responsibilities are very similar across the globe in terms of how they impact our client and how they impact our employees. So that thought process and that curation and the design happens centrally. But apart from that, in terms of our associate development, our managerial development, we heavily rely on our location teams to kind of go ahead and curate and customize the content and make it relevant for that set of people, because it's very difficult for us to, for example, create something for Philippines or say Romania or say
Yeah,
Poland.
so it is important for you to also have people over there who have a context of the
Yes.
cultural understanding and things. Yeah,
Yes. So what
absolutely.
we do is we create the content, for example, uh, is created centrally, but it is completely custom. So the content is then pushed back into the respective geographies, and we usually tell them saying that now you can customize it the way you think is appropriate for your world. The reason why we try to kind of solve some of the content centrally is because the budget lies in within the learning function, which is more central. But apart from that entire, so in most cases, Shireen, we see 80% customization, right, on how it's getting delivered in the location. So that's how we kind of solve the globalization, global and local conundrum that we face.
Yeah, customization, as you said, is extremely important when you're dealing with different cultures and locations. So thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. Now, Rajnish, we're moving to our rapid fire segment. So here's my first question to you. What is that one skill or capability that you think every employee, regardless of their role or industry, should be developing right now?
I think learning how to learn, very, very important. I think in the day and age of tech disruption, it's very important to know how to learn and learn fast, and then ensure that you keep yourself relevant.
Great. If you had an unlimited L&D budget for 1 year, what would you do first?
I think, see, I think that's it's you're not going to never get a unlimited budget.
It's an imaginative
It's an
one, so you
imaginative.
can just go ahead.
So
Yeah,
let me give you a very imaginative answer for that. I'm a big,
that's exactly what we want. Please go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm a big tea, I'm I'm a big tea person. I mean, I'm a chai person. So I would probably create a tea called Curiosity. Okay. And I would love people to kind of have that on a daily basis so that they're more curious about their life, their career, and make those amends so that they are relevant, and they're ticking, and then they're making sure that they're future-proofing themselves.
Great answer. So, next one, do you believe that Gen Z has already changed how we are designing learning tools?
I think, see, I mean, I hate to kind of put people into boxes. I think it's, in my opinion, you solve for people. It's about understanding a set of people. I mean, I do understand that they bring in a different flavor to it. They're very tech savvy, right? Most organizations currently are there in terms of mobile first, or ensuring that content is
Gamified and things like
gamified
that.
and all that. But I think if you ask me, if I have to probably use an assumption in terms of their persona and then add something into my program, I think that would be purpose.
Good, great. So, my last question to you, Rajneesh, for this episode. What is that one book, tool, or resource that has deeply influenced your approach to L&D?
I think my personal struggle, I've never been a very academically uh, sound or a brilliant individual. I've struggled during my formative years to really learn. I used to always think that I hope there were some people who would make things simple, and in the world of so much of complexity. Today, I have an opportunity to kind of make it simple. So that's what I try to achieve using my role.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rajneesh. That brings us to the end of this episode. A big thank you to you, of course, for sharing your thoughtful and actionable insights that you've shared with us today. And now to our viewers, please stay tuned to ETHRWorld L&D Superfood for more exciting episodes as we dive deeper into the world of L&D and bring you more insights from the top professionals in this industry. Catch our other episodes from the series on our YouTube channel and in our L&D Superfood playlist. And until next time, keep learning and keep growing. Thank you so much.